Hello everyone, it's nice to be streaming, and today I'm going to talk mostly about the Women's World Team Chess Championship 2021 that took place in Sitges, Spain from September 27th to October 2. To tell you the truth, it's been a while since the end of this event, but there are so many things going on, and with all the traveling and Chess Super League that I'm taking part right now, it's a very interesting online tournament. I didn't have a chance to talk about FIDE World Women's Team Championship, so I decided to make it happen today, even though it's early in the morning for some of you, but nevertheless, I'd like to talk about this event, since next week I'm going to talk about Chess Super League, as I mentioned. Well, anyway, no, I'm not going to play any games with viewers, since I'm in the middle of the tournament and making streams. It's already like a little bit too much, but anyway, I hope that next week I'm going to find time and will do a session of playing with subscribers. So I'll let you know. Don't forget to sign up to my Discord channel to get notified about upcoming streams. Today's topic, as I already mentioned, FIDE World Women's Team Championship that took place in Sitges, Spain. It was very interesting for several reasons, and that's why I wanted to talk about it. And of course, Team Russia. Well, we played on the Russian Chess Federation flag, but we know that it's my Russian national team won the event, so it will be even more pleasant for me to talk about this tournament. Well, let's get back to it. And also, during this stream, I'm going to record like one part of the stream will be dedicated to my best game of the week, the last week of September. I know I'm running late, but I'm going to record it for my YouTube channel to put only a part of the stream to this YouTube channel. So don't be surprised, I'll warn you before I get started. So let's get going. And here we are, Team Russia, Russian Chess Federation, due to some restriction because of this doping scandal you might have heard of. The Russian national team was not allowed to play under the Russian national team name and using Russian national team flag during the Olympic Games in Tokyo, and it also applied for this particular World Team Championship. That's why a Russian Chess Federation created a special form for us that did not have any logos or emblems of my country, but it turned out quite nice. You can see on the photo the team that was playing in Sitges. Let's move from left to right. It's next to the lion with Sunway letters is Katerina Lagno, a very strong player, the current Women's World Blitz champion. She won this championship twice in a row, so a very, very strong player. My good friend Alina Kashlinska is next to Katerina. Then in the dress, Bordeaux dress, is Alexandra Garячkina in the middle, that I'm standing next to Alexandra Garячkina, and then comes Polina Shuvalova, a debutant of our national team, but nevertheless a very strong player. She barely missed the Russian champion title in December 2020 after a great start, and I'm sure there are many tournaments, many great wins in her career are yet to come. So that was our team that played in Sitges, and let me also share some small videos from Sitges that I recorded. I'm still working on my vlog. It takes also time because I'm not able to edit videos, so I just record them and I'm looking then for someone who can help me with that. But for this stream I prepared a few of my favorite clips that I recorded. So that's the Sitges. It was very nice. We stayed in a nice hotel by the sea. The weather was fantastic. We had such a promenade. I was able to run and enjoy the weather, the sea, and well, I mean, the place is just amazing for a chess tournament. And as I said, there were some changes to format of this event, and actually it's for the first time in the chess history, the World Team Championship actually could be easily called a rapid Women's World Team Championship, because the time control that we used was not a regular 90 minutes per game, but a 45 minutes per game for each opponent, plus 10 seconds incremental each move. So it's more than 2 times less compared to, for example, FIDE World Women's Team Championship 2019 that took place last time in Astana in Kazakhstan. And we played twice a day. We played 2 games a day. And the whole event took just 6 games. So there were just 6 playing days. And of course it changes everything, and the games are different, the time control is different, and we needed to adjust to this time control. It's 45 plus 10, not even plus 15. The format also was different. In 2009 we played, it was a closed tournament with 10 teams participating, and just regular round robin. But here we had, similar to Chess Olympiad, to the online Chess Olympiad, we had 2 stages. 2 stages, let me just a second. Just a second. Yeah. Okay, so 2 stages. The first stage was a group stage. And group stage, here's the format. So teams are divided up, were divided into 2 pools with approximately same ELO rating. And so there were 6 teams in each group, and top 4 teams of each group advanced to the playoff round. So time control, as I mentioned, was 45 plus 10, and we were getting 2 points for a match win, 1 point for a draw in the match, and 0 points for a loss. So if we have a look at the chess results page, we can see the following. Let me show you. Where's this page? I need to find it. Here it is. So Pool A, the Chess Federation of Russia, we played under this abbreviation. We won our group event quite convincingly with, thank you for subscription, with 5 out of 5. So we won all our matches. There were also teams of India, Armenia, Azerbaijan, France, and Spain playing in our group. And as I said, 4 teams qualified from our Pool A to the playoff division, which are my team, Russia, India, Armenia, Azerbaijan. And then there were Pool B, also with 6 teams participating, with Georgia, Ukraine, Kazakhstan, and the FIDE Americas team consisting of players from different regions of America. Surprisingly, a very strong team from Poland could not qualify, and the same can be said about Germany, that barely missed this qualification spot. They shared the 4th place, but unfortunately for them, they scored half a point altogether. the team less, and thus were not able to qualify to the playoff stage. So that was the group stage. We played 2 games a day, so like 2-2-1, 5 rounds in total, and top 4 teams qualified for the quarterfinal. So in total, 8 teams. These are the teams with my team of Russia playing FIDE Americas, Georgia playing Kazakhstan, India, Azerbaijan, and Ukraine, Armenia. I think that was the knockout pairs. And the format of playoff. Each 8 teams play a single elimination knockout tournament. So just we are divided into matches. Teams are paired based on finishing position from the round robin stage, from the group stage. And each match consists of 2 games with a time control. So in one day, we played 2 matches with one team. And in the quarterfinals, and the semifinals, and in the finals. And if the score was 1-1 after those 2 matches, then an additional blitz match was required to determine the winner. And only once during this event such a blitz match was required in the Ukraine-Armenia encounter. And that was quite a tense match. And well, for my team, we didn't require any additional matches. We first won against FIDE America. Then we played a very tense and interesting semi-final against Ukraine that played also with their strongest players, with both Muzachuk sisters. And then after beating Ukraine in the semi-final, we reached the final where we faced India. So semi-finals were like this. Team Russia played Ukraine, India played Georgia, and then there was the final. That also consisted of 2 matches between our teams. I played 9 games altogether, but before going into the chess part, let me share with you another very nice video clip that was recorded just seconds actually after our last victory in the final match versus India. And you can hear, I leave this noise from the video audio. You can still hear players analyzing their games that just were finished with coaches, and it looks nice. What did I do? Okay, that is the video. So the organizers asked us to make the final photo. We barely finished our match, so you can see Katerina Lagno and Alexandra Goryachkina. The man with the orange short is our captain, and a very, very strong grandmaster Sergei Rublevsky. Polina Shuvalova is here. Of course, we're all happy and smiling. Alina Kashlinska is not here with us since she did not play the last round. Yeah, and, you can find this photo that I liked very much with all smiles. It's such a change, it's such a change. You can see our other 2 coaches. We have 3 coaches in total, so a big team. And of course, it's very helpful. Alexandra is smiling. You don't usually see her smiling. But that's it changes a lot when the tournament is over and you can smile. It, of course, helps take great videos and great photos. Okay, so let's get going to the chessboard. Yes, here's the chessboard. Well, we are intense. I mean, in order to perform well, even if people are expecting us to win, and we were clear favorite in this tournament, but it's still not so obvious. And you need all this concentration. And with this time control, with this format, well, in chess in general, every mistake can be final. And people sometimes don't understand when they ask us for a photo or for an autograph or for an interview during an event. It's and we refuse. They kind of get surprised and think how rude those chess players are, but in fact we're so concentrated that we don't want to get distracted. For some players it's easier to like give an interview and then get back into tournament mood. For some it's more complicated, and your main goal when you're at a tournament is to win this event or to perform at your best in chess. Of course, it's very important, all those interviews, but you know, it's better to win and then to make a stream dedicated to, yes, exactly, confused. Are you rude? No, we're Russians. I need to make a clip. There is a very well-known movie in Russian about gangsters, Russian gangsters that arrived to America, and the policeman, the border control, and is asking them, what was the question? Are you gangsters? I think he's asking them, and the man from Russia replies, "No, we're Russians." So yeah, that's that's funny. Yes, exactly. Brat 2. Anyway, we should make this clip to show next time. But let's get back to what Russians can do at the chessboard as well. And I'll go over my games that I played. As I said, there were 9 games, with the first one being the encounter against Anna Matnadze. She's playing for Spain, but she is Georgian originally, and when we were younger, we played in the same age category, and she's 1 year older than I am, so I know her from like children's tournaments, and she was one of the favorites in children tournaments, and yeah, so we haven't actually met during those youth tournaments, but nevertheless I know Anna. And she's been playing for Spain for many, many years, and been the leader of her national team for a long time. And I think I prepared also another video before the round. Hopefully it's gonna work. Yes, it's from the ChessQueen rule broadcast. And that is the video for actually the final game. The second match was India. You see Tanya Satcher walking around. You can see Polina Shuvalova. I'm waiting for my opponent, Vaishali Harika, Garechkina is there, Katerina Lagno. You can also see her. Just wanted to let you feel this tournament whole vibe. But the first round of the group tournament, as I said, was the match, our match against Spain, and I played against Anna Matnadze, and she chose the Scandinavian defense, which is known to be quite risky, with the retreat to d8 of her queen, d4, taking up the center, c6, and bishop c4. I played bishop c4, and here Anna chose a very dubious line. She played g6. I mean, the idea is nice. Of course, it would be nice to play bishop g7 and knight f6 and castle, and then everything will look fine for black. But except the fact that they just spent 2 tempi with her queen going back and forth, and she's running late in her development, and she just doesn't have time for such a luxury to put her bishop onto g7 and play knight f6, and she ended up in a very bad position here in this game. And what surprised me tremendously, that in the second or third round in the same tournament she was playing against Marie Sebag from France, and she chose exactly the same line with black. Well, okay, I mean, you can prepare a line and try it, but if already in the first game you end up in a worse position, I don't really see that there is a point to repeat this line, because nowadays your opponent always checks the games that you played before, and it just gives such a tremendous opening advantage to them. Okay, knight f3, knight to g7, knight e5 immediately. That's what I was saying about black just doesn't have time to play knight f6 castle and protect the pawn on f7. If she takes now, probably it's the best option, that the lesser evils that black has. But the problem is that after d takes e5, queen takes d1, knight takes d1, I have a pair of bishops and quite a pleasant endgame. With basically no counterplay for black, so a very solid plus straight out of the opening, and but nevertheless it was the best option for black right now, because after the move e6, first of all, this bishop is forever, I mean it's closed for a long time. Second, all these black squares are weakened, and it's not surprising that I'm already starting the attack via this f7 square. Knight f6, bishop g5, and if she castles, I'm going to show you a very nice line that I was calculating during the game. If black castles, I was thinking about going to f3, but I couldn't really evaluate the following line, so I was calculating it during my game. Queen a5 check, trying to unpin, but I have this b4 move, queen takes b4, I have the c3, so attacking the queen, and at the same time I'm thinking of getting this knight, so the only move that black has is to go forward and attack my rook. But as we know from different Morphy games and the games of the earlier stage of in chess history, it's all about the king, right? It's all about the king. And here, so I take, she takes, and I take with the queen. And that is a very interesting position that I was trying to, foresee and calculate in my mind. I was not really sure about it. So if she takes the rook, I go king d2, and then I go to d3, and there is no way black can save herself from being checkmated. Yes, exactly. I mean, we can make it like more beautiful, right? We can create an evergreen game with 2 rook sacrifice. It's a very nice line, of course. But during the game, it's not so obvious. I mean, I had this feeling that it should be enough. But, you know, when you sacrifice so much material, especially in a team's event, I mean, you're worried. And what if not? If not, what then was going to happen? Queen takes e3. I was worried about this move because if I play king e2, then she has knight d7, and if I take on d7, she has queen takes e4. And I saw this position during my calculations, and I could not really evaluate it. In fact, it's winning for white because I can run away from those annoying checks somehow. If she gives check here, I run here. What happens if she gives a check here? I think we've already been here. And I go to g1, and I go to e1, and bishop d2. Okay, well, that's very complicated, and of course it was hard to calculate everything. But during the game, my opponent didn't castle. She played h6, which is the right move, because as we know, castle is losing after queen f3. But h6 also doesn't help very black a lot, so I took bishop takes f6. I could have taken with the knight here, then castle, and have a very good position, but I went to a sharper line. I decided to sacrifice a pawn, and here I overcomplicated things, unfortunately. I mean, sometimes chess is quite an easy game. And I should have played c3, queen takes e5, and then longside castle. The reason that I didn't go for this line, here I have an option not to let black castle. And I went for this line. I play king f1, but it's just too artificial. Because if we go back to this position, and yes, black castled, and she has an extra pawn, but her pieces are still undeveloped. Her squares around her king are very weak, and pawn structure is not very strong. I can attack easily. by starting h4 or rook h2 e1 and then h4, and I have a very strong compensation for this pawn. So completely winning position, very big advantage. And of course I should have played c3 and longside castle. That's the first intention that comes to your mind, and you should stay there. Instead, as I said, I overcomplicated. I played king f1, and the idea behind this move was after queen takes e5 to play rook e1. Unfortunately, I'm not able to castle immediately, right? Since I'm in check, because that would have been the best move, there's no doubt. But, well, okay, I don't let black castle because of knight f6, losing her queen. But okay, my king is not very beautifully placed, and black gets some possibility to equalize by playing knight d7, for example, or as she said, played in the game queen d4. And here I got carried away, so I was again overcomplicating things in this game, probably because it was the first game, but I forgot about time control because I was running already very long time here, I needed to calculate so many different lines. Of course, I could have played just bishop b3, play c3, and play h4, but it's not clear then why I didn't play c3 and longside castle. So I stick to my plan, and my plan was not letting black's king go away. And I sacrificed a piece. So I sacrificed a pawn, now a piece, and, well, I have a threat to win the queen, and my opponent played queen takes a2, which is a mistake. She should have played queen a6, keeping this pin. And, well, I still have some compensation for the piece, but a piece is a piece. After queen takes a2, though, I made the wrong move, queen e5. I had a much better move, which is rook to d2, using the fact that my rook is not pinned and preparing this knight d6. Unfortunately for me, knight d6 immediately doesn't work because, yes, bless you, because king goes forward and there is nothing. I mean, a few checks, but not more than that. I mean, it looks scary, but the king just goes away. And surprisingly, there is no checkmate and there are no pieces left. So in order to prepare this knight d6, I need to make rook d2 move. So now I'm threatening to play knight d6 and then queen takes f7, and the rook will be protecting the knight. And after castle, I have knight f6 and queen e5. And or if she plays king h8, probably it's stronger. Sorry, it's not stronger. It's not stronger. King g7, queen e5, and then after king h8, I have a very strong move, rook d8, which wins the game. Because if I play queen knight e8, thank you, Lena Spoon, thank you for subscribing. Knight e8, she has f6, and that's why I need to make this distraction move. That's why I need to distract this rook. If she takes on d8, then I play knight h5 or knight e8, and f6 doesn't help anymore. So many beautiful checkmating patterns here. Many beautiful checkmating patterns. Yes, indeed, Pavel is with us, and we can hear him sometimes. What to do? Okay, queen e5 I played, and that could have ended the game. I mean, it is a losing move, but my opponent surprised me with her next move, because I just attacked her rook, right? Her rook is hanging. And what do when your rook is hanging? You protect your rook. You don't give away your rook. And she was thinking and thinking and thinking. And I thought that the only move she could make here is rook f8, because otherwise, and I was planning, what I was planning to do, I was planning to play knight f6, king e7, queen c5, and win this rook, but for a knight. and desperately try to prove that my rook is not worse than her 2 pieces, since her king is kind of exposed, but computer doesn't agree with my evaluation. His evaluation, as you can see, is almost -5, so yep, it hurts, it hurts. So that was a chance for black almost to win the game. Instead, she played knight d7, and well, I was so shocked during the game. I could not understand the idea of knight d7. I even did not realize for a moment that I am playing with an extra exchange, not with a rook. I thought that I was just given a rook. Well, this position is winning, but I needed to take on h6. Instead, I decided to play it safe. And after this queen c3 move, as you can see, again, the evaluation drops. So it doesn't become, I mean, the position is quite complex. We're playing already on seconds, but I'm happy about my play here. I made good moves. So I played h4 with the idea to play rook h3 and bring my rook via the h file to the game. And rook f3, another very strong move, highlighting that black's king is in the center, and I have some checkmating ideas. e5, and here I saw the right move, but I didn't see the idea behind it. I wanted to play b3 very much, because it looks kind of nice, right? I'm kind of closing the road to the queen, but I did not realize that I have a threat after this move, that I'm not just cutting off her queen out of play. I do have a deadly threat. I thought, I said to myself, okay, b3 looks nice, but it doesn't create any ideas. In fact, it does, because after f5, I'm winning this queen. How do I win it? Yes, exactly, simply by playing rook a1, capturing the queen. And so b3 was a very strong move indeed. I made a good move, but it let black's queen escape, but she escaped to d5, which is quite obvious, and everyone, I think, would choose this central square with some ideas to play f5 and then queen takes g2, but in fact it's not the best position for her queen here, probably because this rook takes e5 ideas appear after queen d5. Instead, she should have played queen a4 and then queen d4, which almost equalizes the game. But after queen d5, of course, I protected the g2 square. I played f3, preparing my knight retreat somewhere. Again, queen d4 actually would have been almost similar to queen a4, right? But she played f5, and here f5. I played knight f2 without thinking, because again, we were playing on seconds, and then when I was making this move, I was telling myself why I didn't consider knight takes c5, because actually knight c5 is winning here. But knight f2 is winning as well. I just transferred my knight to d3, and then I took, and okay, some complications, but I was playing precisely in these complications, and it's not that difficult anymore, and I ended the game with a beautiful checkmate. It's always nice to end a game with a checkmate. That was my start. It was quite a shaky start for me, as you can see, but yeah, first games, they're always, well, not always, but often shaky. You kind of getting into the tournament mood, and in Spain, you needed to feel this time control and get used to the fact, to the playing hall. There are many things going on before the first game and during the first game, so that's why sometimes you don't perform to your best. But let's go on. The second game was a little bit easier for me. It was our match with Azerbaijan, and I was playing against Mamadova. I'm not going to show the whole game, just like the key moment of it. It was a French defense, and that is the key moment of the game. I noticed a very nice trap. So she just played a5, attacking my b4 pawn, and well, I could have started with c takes d5, but I decided that I will start with queen c2, attacking the pawn on h7. Computer dislikes this move very much, queen c2, because it says that black can simply capture on b4. I'm sure that my opponent didn't even consider this move. Why? Well, because the pawn on h7 can be taken with a check, and human beings, especially in rapid games, they don't consider giving up your pawns close to your king with a check. And that was Black's problem, that she didn't even think for a while after queen c2. Actually, I was also not thinking about this possibility. I thought that I'm attacking the pawn and Black needs to protect it. It's not always the case. In fact, after a takes b4, I should take on d5. I should take on b4 using the fact that this knight on c6 is pinned. If she takes with the bishop, I take with the rook and win material. But Black has queen d6. And they have a good position. I'm in a trouble because knight b4 is coming. And still, bishop takes h7 check does not help because she simply removes her king. And knight takes b4 is still in the air. And I need to care about my bishop. I need to move it away to protect it somewhere, but not clear where. So, queen c2 was not precise. Actually, in fact, I should have started with c takes d5 and then take on or play b5 or take on a5 and with approximately equal position, but I set up a deadly trap and my opponent ended up in this trap because she protected. She protected the pawn on h7 and she played h6, but surprisingly h6 simply loses. Simply loses because I take on d5 and suddenly Black realized after this that there is no way to save the knight. It's pinned and I am going to win it. I am going to win it. Here we go. Like this. No way to save it. Yep. No, it's Mamadova, and there is also, they have similar last names. Mamadzade. I think you mean Mamadzade. Young players that performed very well in Gibraltar. But that's another player. Okay. And so I won this game. I won the knight and I won this game. After some maneuvering and playing on with piece down, I managed to get closer to her king, which was not that difficult. Okay, we go on. Then was a very tense game with Vaishali. I played badly in an opening. Made one wrong move, actually, not so badly. I made one wrong move and it was enough to end up in a terrible position. The position that I got out of the opening was just completely terrible and absolutely hopeless for me. So I was suffering for the most of the game, but then managed to turn the tables around again thanks to this time control, mostly to this time control that was used in Sitges, because my opponent was spending a lot of time and she was playing very well, but then she didn't find something straightforward. I was also playing well. I mean, I was trying to defend this position carefully, and I managed to exchange the queens, and the endgame was equal for a very long time. It was equal, and the key moment was here when I played rook g8, and my opponent she played e7, but she should have played rook e1, and because after e7 she probably forgot that I can go back with my rook and take this pawn. But it's still equal after that, and she just blundered me the whole piece with this double check. Again, playing on 10 additional seconds. So we won this match as well, and my last game in the group stage was the match against Armenia. In this game, I got a very big advantage after the opening. Her bishop went to b8. And when you see pieces standing like this, you understand that something went wrong. And instead of playing b4, like securing this bishop there, I let Black play c5. And even after that, I got a very, very big advantage. but somewhere around here, yes, that was a crucial move. I didn't realize that I have to stop her knight from going to b4 to d3 and attack the pawn on e4. That's the crucial pawn here. So I should have played rook d4 and then bishop f4, and I have a very, very, very big advantage. Instead, I played bishop to d4, and after knight b4, position started to look shaky, and actually I was very happy to save this game at the end. But as I mentioned before, we managed to win all our 5 matches in the group section, the team of Russia, and we qualified. Qualified for the playoff stage, and I'm gonna show you the bracket, the knockout bracket. So we played with FIDE Americas. Thank you, Nicola. Nice to see you. Nice to see you here. So we played our first quarterfinal match with FIDE America. Then, as I said, a very tense semi-final with Ukraine, and then the final with India. And I'm going to start with the first game that I played in the quarterfinals, despite the fact that we were playing 2 games, like 2 matches with FIDE Americas. My team allowed me to play just 1 because we had a reserve player. And that is going to be my next quarterfinal game is going to be the game of the week. So I will put a short starting image, and then I will get back and will guide you through this game. It was a nice game, and we'll go on from there. Okay, I'm back, and I'm ready to present to tell you about my game of the week. It was played in the last day of September, so we're still in the September 2021. It was such an intense month with the online Olympiad and with all my other travelings, but right now, right there, when this game is being played, I'm in Sitges, Spain, and it's the first game of the quarterfinals, and I'm playing against the leader of the Argentinian team, Carolina Lujan. I know this girl also from my childhood tournaments. We played with her first in 1996, also in Spain, in Menorca, and so we haven't played many games, but that was our first encounter, and here we are many years later representing our teams and playing in the World Team Championship. It's a nice road. It's a nice road to follow, and I was playing white, and Carolina started the game with e4, and as I expected, she opted for the Italian game, for the closed Italian game, d3, knight f6, and castle. Sometimes I play sharper lines with d5, but in this particular game I decided to stick to a more classical approach. I played d6. There are many systems and move orders, and I would lie if I tell you that I know all the nuances of the Italian games, although I've had a chance to analyze it a lot with white and with black pieces. Yes, exactly. Gioco pianissimo variation. c3, a5. Since a white's plan in this Italian game is often connected with the was gaining advantage on the queen side by playing b4, a4, a5 if allowed, or b5 later on. That's why I made this plan. I mean with this setup with a5. Of course, a5 has some drawbacks, such as weakening this b5 square, so bishop and the knight can later on use this weakness, but you choose always what to give to your opponent and what not to give, and in this particular case I decided not to let white play b4. Of course, it's a well-known line. Many top grandmaster games are being played every day. So knight b2 d2, castle, rook e1, nothing is new under the sun, bishop e6, bishop b5. That is one of the examples what can happen after a5. White is trying to use to explore this weakness. But a5 is not only guarding b4 square, but it's opening up the g1 a7 diagonal, which surprisingly can be felt in this variation. After the move queen b8, also very often this move can often be seen in the lines with a5. My queen is being transferred to a7, where together with the bishop it will put pressure on the f2 square. Knight f1, queen a7, but again, there have been many games played with this particular line and this particular move order, so nothing is new under the sun. White is protecting f2 square by exchanging the bishops. Knight takes e3, h6, also a prophylactical move that one can see quite often in the Italian and Spanish openings and setups, protecting the g5 square and preparing somewhere a window for the king. h3, same story. Knight e7, so I'm starting my knight's maneuver to g6. Why? Well, from g6 it can get to f4 at some point. It also protects the square on e5, and it opens up in some lines. It opens up the road to the c6 pawn, and then c6 d5. I can fight for the center. Bishop a4, because the bishop started to feel very discomfortable there. I have this idea of a4, c6, d5, and then who knows what can happen after all this pawns moves. So that's why white is playing bishop a4, moving her bishop into a safer place. And here I played queen b6. For example, Andrei Sipenko. There was a game of Andrei Sipenko in a Blitz tournament in 2020. He played knight g6. And there was also another Blitz game between Linier Dominguez and Hikaru Nakamura, also in a Blitz tournament in St. Louis in 2018. And there black started with bishop knight g6. And in the Sipenko game, white played d4. Dominguez opted for a calmer line, bishop c2, but then Nakamura played a4, grabbing some space on the queen side. But both these games ended in a draw, and the position is about equal. But I started with queen b6, so I attacked the pawn on b2, asking white what they're gonna do about this pawn. Of course, you don't want to give it away. There are several options to protect it. My opponent picked the move queen to d2, leaving the space open for her bishop to go to c2, and after knight g6, she retreated the bishop to c2. It was possible to take on b2, but then it would lead to some to the opening of the b7 pawn. I'm not winning the pawn with queen takes b2, because the rook will get it back and it will get to b7, and my queen is kind of misplaced. Maybe the position is still fine. Thank you so much for the subscription, but I didn't feel like it, and I made a move that one can often see, and we already saw in the Dominguez Nakamura game, a4. So I'm grabbing more space on the queen side and hoping that this will help me at one point. You never know when, but sometimes such moves can help you. White decided not to watch and see. see and watch this pawn on a4 and played b3. They confronted this move immediately. But this move has its drawbacks, and we'll see why it might have been a better idea to pick some other moves for white. Because after b3, I take on b3, white takes on b3, and the a file is open. And it seems there is nothing, I mean, the white rook is on the a file, it's protected, and if I take it, the rook from e1 is gonna take it and will end up being on an open file. And normally such exchanges are not suggested because after rook takes a1, your opponent's rook is on the open file and you almost lost the control over it. So usually we don't recommend exchanging rooks in such a manner when you end up losing control over an open file. And these open lines are very important, and the A file is the only open file currently in this position. But what are the drawbacks that I was talking about? Why do you think in this particular case? Why do you think in this particular case I took on a1? And what changed in the position after white replied rook takes a1? Bishop takes b3 is not to be recommended, of course, because of the simple rook b1 winning the bishop. So no, I cannot take the pawn on b3, and that was not my intention and was not my idea. My idea of giving up the a file was the reason that I noticed that after rook takes a1, actually white's rook is not on e1 anymore, and it does not put pressure on e5. How can it be important? Because after rook takes a1, I can play d5, and d5 and d4 are two central pawns movements that we should consider always when playing Spanish or Italian games. Even if white starts this game by playing d3 and black plays d6, it doesn't mean that the players don't want to play d4 or d5. So we should always look for these moves and consider them. And I noticed that after rook takes a1, the rook is not longer on e1, and that means that after e takes d5, knight takes d5, if white takes, I am going to take, and my pawn on e5 is not under attack anymore. And that's why it makes this exchange combination makes this whole d5 breakthrough possible. And as I said, this breakthrough are very important, but of course, when playing d5, I needed to calculate some other lines, such as knight c4. And that's what actually happened. White keeps attacking. And the pawn on e5, so it's a fork. She's attacking my queen and my pawn. I played queen c6. And here, if white takes, then I will simply take on c3. Again, some exchanges. But what do I have after these exchanges? I have weakened pawn structure for white. The bishop is not very beautifully placed. It looks like a pawn. And these two pawns are weak. So it will be easier for me to attack them later on in this endgame. I have quite a solid advantage here with black. So that's why white doesn't want to take on e5, and my opponent played d4. She noticed this very nice move, opening up her bishop and putting more pressure on the e5 square. And of course, when playing d5, I was ready for this move. I saw this move since, as I said, d5 and d4 should always be, thank you so much, should always be in your mind when playing this openings and systems. And well, I was ready. I was ready. What did I play here? Any ideas? Any ideas? Any suggestions? Of course, I didn't take on d4. Because if I take on d4, well, then my position starts to... she can play knight d4 or even bishop g6 and then knight d4, and my position doesn't look good. Too many hanging pieces. So what did I do after d4? Okay, some suggestions. b5. Well, b5 kind of pushing the knight towards where it wants to go. Maybe not this one, but she can take with another knight. And it's not so clear what to do here. No, my idea, well, f5 is too slow because this pawn will be taken. I should do something. I mean, white wants to take on e5. Yes, I did put my knight to f4, but that was a knight d that went to f4. Knight d to f4. So I'm kind of ignoring the fact that white can take on e5. But I'm getting closer to white's king, and I'm already thinking of moves such as knight h3. For example, if white takes with the d pawn, d takes e5, I can take the pawn on h3 either with the knight or with the bishop. It's up to me to decide. Both look very tempting. Bishop h3 probably is a little bit stronger, and white's king starting to feel very, very discomfortable because it's not clear how to protect from this strong attack. And that's why, of course, white doesn't take with this pawn. She cannot take with this knight because of checkmate. But she can, and she should have taken with the other knight from c4. But here I also had something in mind. Actually, I'm going to show you the move that I was going to make here a little bit later, because in the game my opponent played knight to a5 and the same move followed, the same idea followed. Actually, after knight a5 I could have played queen a6, which would have been even stronger, suddenly pinning the rook and the knight. Yeah, uncomfortable. I know that I should say uncomfortable, but I like to say discomfortable. I know that it's not right even in Russian, because discomfort is not the same thing as uncomfort, but anyway, it sounds funnier, no? Don't you agree? And sometimes, since I'm not a native English speaker, I like to say funny moves, funny words. I make mistakes sometimes on purpose, and my daughter keeps fun of me, but yeah. So the king is clearly in discomfort after queen takes f3. I'm sorry. Okay, getting back to the game. What was going to happen after knight takes e5? I was going to take, and my idea, okay, knight takes e5 is still impossible because of queen takes g2, checkmate. But after d takes e5, what was my idea? Maybe I don't speak English perfectly, but sometimes I do play chess perfectly, which is really quite a pleasant thing to do. Yes, there are some ideas with knight takes h3. That's true, but these ideas are not very strong because of simply king h2. Chess is not checkers. Unfortunately, white doesn't have to take. And yes, the right ideas that my dear spectators on Twitch, since I'm doing this and recording this part of the video on Twitch during my Twitch stream, already noticed. Queen takes e3, very nice combination, followed by knight e2. Nothing, I mean, the position is still about equal, but I do believe that I have some slightly better position due to my pawn's majority on the queen side. That can decide the game. Thank you for the raid. Chess Heroes, thank you for the raid. But, as I already said, well, the knight on the rim is dim, so we try to get our pieces towards the center always, and knight a5 is a mistake by many by two moves already. So after knight a5 I can play queen a6, which is the strongest move, but since I was planning to take on c3, I took on c3 with the queen. And here's the same story. The only difference in the knight on a5 is placing badly, and after d takes e5 I can highlight this pin. I mean, I can highlight it by pinning the knight and the rook. and white needs some time to unpin and to protect this knight that is hanging. Yes, luckily for her, she has this intermediate unpinning move, rook to c1, but then I exchange the pieces in a way that improves my position, improves by creating a passed pawn, which is very important in an endgame. Rook c5, rook d8, the best position for the rook is behind your passed pawn to help it move forward, and this position I think is just simply winning. The knight, just look how badly the knight is placed. My bishop is almost cutting it off the game. I improve the position of my king, and after rook d1 I play b6, and I transfer the game into, I think, into a winning rook endgame. Why is it winning? As I said, I have a passed pawn. The position of my king is much better compared to white's king, and this passed pawn supported with the rook, the position of my king, and weaknesses of white's pawn altogether decide this endgame for me. I play king e6, also I think d3 was also quite strong, but I decided to go forward with my king. I calculated this endgame quite deeply. I took quite a long thought before the move king e6, because I was choosing between some other moves that I can make, and I prefer to play with the king, which is very important in the endgame. f4, king f5, and as you can see, after king g3, my idea was simply to go forward with the king, and then to e3 and e2 and help my pawn to get promoted. If she gives check, I can play king d3, and her pawn, yes, it's also supported by her rook, but not by her king, and that decides the game, because my pawn, there is no way to stop my pawn. My opponent decided to stop my king, but in that case I just simply, it didn't stop my king, I just simply took the pawn on f4, play d3, play rook e8, and then king e5 was not played, of course. I played king e3. I think she just resigned, or she ran out of time, and that's why the arbiter put my king on e5, and king e5 appeared in this PGN, but in fact I was going to play king e3, of course, and just compare the difference between two kings. That's what makes us win endgames. King's position is crucial. Yeah, exactly. So that is it for this game of the week. So I'm going to wrap it up for YouTube, and then I'm going to put this small part to YouTube. And for my Twitch spectators, I'm still going to talk a little bit more about the World Women's Team Championship 2021, because I haven't covered semifinals and finals yet. And so I'll be back. Don't leave me. Okay, I'm back, and now I can remove this best game logo. I can put, what can I put? I can put instead the photo of my team, the winning team. Let me make it smaller so it will fit. It fits. And then, yes, I'll try to answer your questions. There have been many questions. Here we go. Okay, guys, let me go over your questions, because I was kind of ignoring my chat when recording this part for my YouTube channel. So let me see. Many questions in Russian as well, so I'm going to answer some in Russian. Так, всем здрасте, всем спасибо за вопросы. Ну, этот стрим в основном на английском, поэтому редко отвечаю на вопросы на русском языке. Do you think the degree of precision in time trouble is a marker of better players? Yes, definitely. I mean, how you act under pressure, and time trouble is a pressure. It's definitely a marker of better players. Почему не на русском? Ну, так получилось. На русском на chess.com.ru. очень много стримов на chess.com.ru, а на своем личном канале, чтобы больше людей имело возможность послушать мои комментарии, стримлю в основном сейчас на английском. Опять же, ввиду того, что просто на chess.com.ru очень много веду программ на русском. Какие у меня отношения с Шиповым? Тренирует ли он? Ну, нет, он меня не тренирует. С Шиповым отношения хорошие. Был непродолжительный период, когда мы встречались, и он может сказать, что меня тренировал, но это было очень давно, и я даже не вспомню, в каком году. Очень-очень давно. Где-то 99-й, может быть, 2000-й, я могу ошибаться. Может быть, позже, чуть, может быть, раньше. Чего я добилась в шахматах? Это хороший вопрос. Ну, так. Да, много чего добилась. Не будем забивать стрим саморекламой. Okay, guys, what other questions did I have? Как современные топы работают с компьютером? Okay, this one is more like a profound question. I think I need more time. So hopefully I'm going to make a stream in Russian and then we can talk about it. But basically this was the question how modern grandmasters work with computers. Well, they work a lot and all the time. And I think more time is needed to answer in more details. Do I play games with viewers? Yes, I do, but not during this stream. There's gonna be a special stream Blitz with subscribers next week. Yes, unfortunately, China did not participate in the World Team Championship. That was unfortunate because Chinese still have a lot of restrictions due to COVID to travel, and that's a pity, of course. Are you going to be playing classical long term? I don't know. We'll see. Why to plan, you know, when people plan, God laughs, right? Something like this. Okay, guys. So let's get back. I need to wrap this stream up because I need to prepare for my today's game in the Chess Super League that I'm currently playing. And so sorry. I'm sorry to tell you, to let you know that I'm going to like fast forward the games of the semifinals and the finals. Although they were, I mean, these were very interesting and tense games and interesting matches, but hopefully I'm going to prepare a vlog video about World Team Championship, and I will still have a chance to talk more about these games next week when I'm not playing in the any online tournaments. So the semifinal was against the Ukrainian team, and actually I'm very happy about the level I demonstrated in my first game against Maria Muzachuk. I was playing black. It was a very interesting game, and if I'd won it, I would definitely pick it to be the game of the week because I played like very well. I played well, and at some point I outplayed my opponent, and we ended up in a knight's endgame. In this knight's endgame, I was playing black, and I was very close to winning, but for that I would need to play knight d3 here and go to 2 versus 2 on one flank position, and I just didn't consider during the game, since we were playing on seconds already, that it could be winning. In fact, it seems to be winning because there is no way white can protect those pawns apparently, and because of my very well placed pieces and her knight being so far away, I can win those pawns and win this endgame. Which is not that obvious when you're calculating on your playing, so I try to keep my pawn on h6 alive, and I was trying, and that was another moment when I would have, I had the possibility to win, it seems. Also not a very, I made knight king d5 move, kind of move with a tempo, pushing the knight away, then take on g4, but in fact, I should have realized that my king is needed on the king side, and if I play king e5, a very strange looking move, in fact, white is kind of obliged to take on e6, because if she takes here, I will play e5, and then I'm going to win this pawn anyway. So after king e5, white almost obliged to take on e6, but then after f takes g4, if we compare the position, these two positions, with the kings on d5 and on e5, in the game my opponent played king f2, but here it doesn't save her because my king is already on e5, and I just go king f4, and again, because of this very misfortunate position of her knight, sorry, she is not able to save the game. So a very interesting moment, and I was very close to winning it. But unfortunately I didn't. But it didn't help. I mean, it didn't disturb my team, because my team won anyway this match. And the next game was terrible. It was the second game of the day. I misplayed completely in the opening. I played badly. I forgot about development. Well, I mean, h4 is a terrible move here, just weakening my g4 square so much. Well, I should have. I should have just, put my knight to c4, play b4, try to undermine the pawn chain. Instead, I ended up in a completely lost position, and I almost saved it. I had some counter chances right here. I could have tried, but bishop f5. I wasn't able to find. It's a very nice option of desperado, sacrificing the exchange and getting some counter chances, although the position is still lost. So this game I lost, but my teammates won 3 other games, so nobody noticed me losing. 3-1, we won the second match and qualified for the final. And in the finals I played 2 games with Vaishali again. I was playing black in the first one, and in this game it was an equal position for a long time, but then this position happened and my opponent decided to play rook d5, which is a blunder, losing blunder. Instead, she should have played rook c to d1 or e takes f5. And although this position, I mean, I was hoping that I have something here, but unfortunately for me, bishop f4 doesn't win because of this intermediate check. And yeah, again, it should be about equal, although still some pawns to watch for. As I said, my opponent played rook to d5, and this loses the game because of f takes e4, and then rook f4. And after king e5, I simply play rook f5 and win this rook. So I won this exchange and won the game, and it helped my team to win the first match. And in the second match, I was playing white, but I didn't play well. We ended up in endgame, approximately equal endgame. Actually, I overestimated this during my game. I thought that my position is better. Computer evaluates it as much better for black. I still have no clue why. But yeah, d5 was not played in the right moment, and I could have even gotten some advantage after rook e1, but instead I played b5. And yeah, I decided to secure a draw because already at this time Polina Shuvalova was winning, and Goryachkin and Lagno was winning as well, I believe. So I evaluated the position on other boards and decided to play it safe and secure a draw by playing d takes e5, knight g3, e6. And the best move, the best continuation that black has is the following one, which makes it a threefold repetition and a draw. And as I mentioned, this draw helped also my team to secure the second win in the second match of the final. And yeah, and we won. Hooray, hooray, we won this event. It was a very nice event. And once again, here is the winning team on the photo. Starting from left to right are Alina Kashlinskaya, Alexandra Goryachkina, Polina Shuvalova, Ekaterina Lagno, me holding the medal, and the captain, Sergei Rublevsky. All of us very happy because we not only won the event itself, a gold team medal, but also every single of us got a medal on our boards. So I got a silver medal on my board, while Katerina and Alina got gold medals on their boards, and Polina and Alexandra, I think, also got silver. So very happy, very, very nice tournament for us in Sitges. Definitely a place to remember. There is a festival taking place in Sitges on December, I believe. So if you have a chance, I would definitely recommend you to go there. And with that being said, I'm happy to wrap up this stream, because as I said, tonight, already in a few hours, in 5.5 hours, I would play for my Brutal Bishops team in the Chess Super League, and I need to prepare for my game, although it's an online game, but even online games nowadays one needs to take seriously, and I've already played 3 games for my team, very interesting ones. I'm going to dedicate a special stream to this event and to these games. As I said, already 3 interesting games, and hopefully looking for more interesting games. So brutal streams brutal streams are coming. Brutal Bishops are also coming. Yes, it will be on Twitch, and actually they are doing I'm going to share with you the link if I got it, and I will try to find it for today's stream. I mean, the guys are doing just an amazing job. And how many I think, well, the first day, 500,000 views of the coverage. That's something amazing and unbelievable. I can't see, have I gotten, let me check. Did I get, yes. I'm going to share with you the link to the stream. It's going actually to start really soon, because we're the second match of today's, but they're starting with the first match. And let me forward it. Make some combinations. And so I'm able to share this stream link with you, and I'll see you there. As I said, next week I'm going to stream a little bit more, because I'm going to have more time. This is the stream for today, for the Chess Super League, day 4. So you're very welcome to join this event and to watch the stream. And yeah, next week I'm going to talk about this event in more details. I'm going to show you the games that I played, and hopefully there are gonna be more interesting games. 3 already played and more to come. So that's it guys for today. Thank you so much for watching. I'm going to send you to a raid. Who is streaming now? Slow dump. It's Alexandra Abalentseva, a Russian women grandmaster. She's streaming, so I'm going to... She's new to Twitch, but she's getting there. She's commenting also for Chess.com.ru. So I'm going to send the raid to her channel, and hopefully I will see you all really, really soon. Take care. Thank you for your support, for your subscriptions, for your attention. Take care, guys. Take care, play chess, and see you soon.